What's up, guys? My name is Brett Henry. I'm your host of the Bridge Podcast. This is going to be podcast number 2. I was going to have another guest on here, but she got sick this Sunday, so here I am. You get me today. I know a lot of you know me personally. Some of you maybe don't. And so I'm just going to give you kind of a little insight, I guess, into my journey and some of the questions I've been getting, just kind of do a question and answer type thing. And just hopefully you guys can get to know me a little bit better, understand my story, where I'm coming from, what I'm doing, and why I'm here. So we'll get started. I started a couple days ago making this just little mini series called Stirring the Pot. I haven't done that today. I'll probably post one today here. It's just going to be part of this podcast. So people keep asking me why, I've clearly left the LDS religion, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And people just keep saying, why don't you just go quietly? Why do you got to make a big deal about it? And so I'm kind of here to clear the air with that. 4 years ago, I did leave the LDS Church quietly. A lot of people didn't realize it. I was still supporting my wife. My wife was primary president at the time, or in the primary presidency. I think she was actually the president at that time. She was primary president for several years. And so I quietly supported her. She was going. My kids were going. I still went often, with my kids to help support my wife, fill in, as a substitute teacher in primary, teach my kids classes. I didn't necessarily believe everything, but I didn't want to really stir the pot, because if you guys know me, like my personality, I'm not one to stir the pot. Like I'm a quiet, go with the flow, I don't make waves type person. And so that's what I did. I supported my wife. She was primary president, just helped her out. I was doing stuff for her all the time. I always joked like I was assistant to the primary president, which was fun. Like I enjoyed working with her. As a good time. I got to see a lot of the things and hear about a lot of things behind the scenes that most people don't understand go on in the church unless you have one of these higher callings where you have these meetings, these ward council meetings and stuff like that. So I guess I saw a lot of inside, or heard a lot of inside things that maybe the general population of the church doesn't. So, but outside of that, once I stopped going to church, I put a lot of my time and effort into building businesses. And so instead of dedicating all this time doing stuff for the church, I just really focused in on my real estate business, my coaching business, my property management business. And literally we had everything. Like, and I'm going to read here just so I don't miss some things. I mean, we had everything we want. $1 million home, pool in the backyard, multiple $100,000 cars, motor home, every toy you could buy. I mean, we went on vacations to Hawaii. Some of those vacations cost over $100,000. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just trying to give you guys context of this is where I was at when I left the church quietly. I didn't want to rock the boat. I'm not the type of person to rock the boat. I just left and left quietly. And so as I was climbing these ladders, I realized like the higher I climbed in these social circles, the darker the circles became. And, I had people from different religions in these circles. I had people who were high up in the church in these circles. And as I started climbing this ladder, this, social ladder of success, you could say, those circles started getting darker and darker. And part of my, I guess you could call my awakening, came when I had some of my tenants started getting their rent paid by the church, and they were involved and still are involved with these massive lawsuits involving the church and high up people in the church. And they've signed NDA agreements, but the church is paying their rent. And so I knew a lot of insider stuff just by talking to them. And, they're still under like the gag orders. You can't say anything about it. But that's kind of what spurred all this. Just kind of opened my mind to like, hey, you know what? Maybe something not all is well in the church. There's more going on here than meets the eye. And so one night I made a post, and this was completely unrelated. I made a post about the altar room. If you guys follow me on social media, that's probably where you found me, is that altar room post. That's like my most famous post, I could say. I went to bed. I posted that at like midnight, just thinking, oh, it's going to be a creepy post. You know, people like creepy shit. It's cool. Woke up to hundreds of messages in my inbox about people who'd been ritualistically abused right here in Utah, and how they knew, where these, what this room was used for. They'd been in similar rooms. They'd been abused by people in rooms like this. Up to this point, I had no clue. I didn't even know what ritual abuse was. But the fact I had hundreds of people in my DMs all telling me very similar stories, I'm like, there's too many of these messages to be a coincidence. Like, one or two, great, but literally hundreds of people telling me story after story of stuff that's happened to them or happened to family members that nobody will talk about. And so after talking with dozens of victims personally, hearing their stories, I can no longer deny that these things were happening right here in Utah. And what was I going to do? Just turn a blind eye to it so I could keep climbing the ladder of success? I mean, a lot of people in these stories were people from my childhood neighborhood, people I had business dealings with that were named in these abuse allegations and abuse cases. And so I had to make a decision. Do I just turn a blind eye to it and keep climbing this ladder of success and kind of just coast off into the sunset and enjoy the rest of my life living, having everything I want, everything I need? Or do I do something about it? And so part of this is I dove into spirituality really hard, looking for answers. I was lost. I mean, the church was literally everything I had ever known. And when all that came crashing down, I realized, like, this is all a giant fucking lie. What's my purpose here? What do I do? I dove into spirituality. I started getting big into meditation and just trying different meditations. One day I tried a guided meditation. It's called the Hall of Masters. This is where you do a meditation, and they take you. It's pretty much a hypnosis. They hypnotize you, get you to relax, let go of your conscious mind, and go into this place called the Hall of Masters. And so, by the way, I'm a very emotional person. A lot of people don't really know that because I'm really goofy, but I am a very emotional person. So you'll probably see this, the real me come out here. I one day I did this meditation. It's called the Hall of Masters, and as I went into this meditation, I was going around, walked in this Hall of Masters room, and that's where I met a man. And I just asked him, I'm like, hey, you're in here. What's my purpose? Why am I here? And he told me my purpose was to shine light in dark places and to be a voice for those who can't speak for themselves. That's what he told me in this 30-second, 1-minute interaction. And then the meditation was over, came out of it, and had a very profound meeting. The other thing I guess I didn't tell you guys, and this is hard because people are just like, oh, you're crazy. That person's name was Yeshua. You guys probably know him as Jesus Christ. That's who that was, who came and talked to me in the Hall of Masters. And so what do you do? Do you just keep climbing the social ladder knowing that none of this shit matters? Doesn't matter how much money you make, doesn't matter the things you have, like none of that matters. What matters is living your life's purpose. And so the last year I've spent my time and energy shining my light in dark places, and it's came at a tremendous cost to myself and my family. I've also spent the last year learning how to help these victims, how to undo their programming, their cord cutting, remove these energetic cords that have been attached to them through these systems and through the people that control them, and how to help them heal from this horrific abuse that they suffered. And so if any of you are out there, are suffering, I mean, I know I'll get more DMs. Anytime I post stuff like this, I get DMs from people. If you are still suffering and you want help cutting those cords, that's something I can help you with and help undo some of that abuse so you can just try to live a normal life. Reach out to me. That's what I've literally been trained and training to do for the past year. So I hope this answers some of your questions about me. And I guess, I did quietly leave the church 4 years ago, but once I uncovered what's going on behind the doors, behind closed doors, I had to make a choice. And it was either keep climbing the social ladder, keep climbing the money, get the money, or start living your life's purpose. And so that's what I chose. So now you guys have a choice. You can either stand with me or you can stand against me. The choice is yours. You can come help me shine a light in dark places, or you can sit here and pretend like all is well in Zion. I can tell you this is going to come crashing down with or without me. It's going to happen. Things are moving at a rapid pace. And it's funny because some of the things I say, like on my first podcast with Ash, where I said said reptilians are leading the church. I'm not the only person saying this. Go look at a lot of famous podcasters. There's one, Candace Owens. She's currently in hiding right now. She's been saying the same thing for months. And now she's been implicating the church in something to do with Charlie Kirk. And now she's in hiding. So I love you guys. I hope this answers some questions. I guess I want you guys to realize there's a lot more to this than me just being an angry ex-Mormon. I'm not an angry person. I'm not a jealous person. I'm not a vengeful person. Anyone who knows me knows that. But I'm done being quiet. So I'm ready to speak for those who can't speak up. And if any of you guys know anything about abuse, abuse victims can't speak up for themselves. So if you've ever been abused, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I love you all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And hopefully my guest will be ready next week. Hopefully she's feeling better and on the mend, and we'll have another Great Bridge podcast. But for now, this is episode 2. I love you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.